Welcome to On Chemistry. Always try to do your best. Now, let us see about 100 conversion in organic chemistry. We are seeing it as episodes. This is the episode number 110. If you didn't watch previous episodes, I encourage you to go and see. Here, we solve 5 problems step by step. Stay tuned. Let us see the question number 1. The starting metal is benzene attached with methyl and OH. It's a cresol. And you are reacting with sodium hydride and the alkene with chloride. Next step, you are heating palladium and copper with oxygen and water. Here they ask you to find the product. Products are mostly coupled one. New carbon-carbon bond is there. Then you have the ketone there. The position of ketone is different in each compound, whether it's the end position or in the middle or in the beginning. So from the reactant and the possible product, you might see the carbon skeleton switch is there, which is rearrangement, and definitely by palladium and copper, it is a naming reaction. The answer is B. Let us see how. The starting metal, you have alcohol, you are using hydride. Hydride abstract the proton, you have the anion. Next step, you have the reactant, which is alkene with chloride. So O- attack the chlorine position, you have the new OC bond formation. The chlorine eliminates there. Then if you rotate the CO bond, because there is a terminal alkene, there is a possibility of sigmatropic rearrangement. So if you rotate it nicely, you have the 6-member possibility, the electron transfer possibility. So if you switch over the electrons and the sigmatropic rearrangement occurs. So you have the ketone and terminal alkene. So we can redraw the alkene by heteroenol tautomerism. The driving force for heteroenol tautomerism is aromaticity. So aromaticity is established. You have alkene at terminal position. Next step, you are using palladium chloride and copper chloride. These catalysts are being used for Wacker oxidation. Wacker oxidation, what really happens is the CC bond becomes CO, which is a ketone there. So CC bond becomes COCH3, which is the answer clearly B. Here you have to learn two important things. One is sigmatropic rearrangement. Even in the benzene system, sigmatropic rearrangement is possible and it gets back to aromaticity. Second thing is Wacker oxidation. Wacker oxidation is for terminal alkene. The alkene converted into COCH3 and you have the ketone there. Then the question number 2. The starting metal, you are having cyclohexanone, you are having epoxide at second position. It is attached with methyl group there. They ask the reagent which converts the product into enol. So the epoxide ring is open. You have alcohol and new alkene is there. Here they given 4 choices of reagents. One is hydrazine and KOH, another is tosyl hydrazine and trifluoroacetic acid, another is lithium hydride, and finally sodium in liquid ammonia. So from the reactant to product, there is a definitely ring opening is there. By looking at ketone to alkene formation, there can be the possibility of naming reaction. The answer is A. Let us see how. The starting metal, you are having ketone and you are using hydrazine. So what really happened is hydrazine attack the carbonyl, you have imine formation. Then you are using the base subtract the proton. Here the negative charge travel to the system. Why it is traveling? Because of the ring strain. Ring strain has to be relieved by anyway. So negative charge travel, ring is open. So you have new alkene and ring is open there with O-. So if you do KOH abstraction, what really happens is again the proton will be abstracted. You have N triple bond in formation, which is a very good leaving group. Then you have the anion with alkene formation. Then the alkene is quenched by H plus ion. The H plus comes from the previous steps. So the final product is alkene with alcohol, which is the required one. So the reagents are hydrazine and KOH and heat. Here you have to learn two important things. One is Shapiro elimination. The Shapiro elimination converts ketone into alkene. Second thing is charge travel. If you have strained system or unstable system, the charge travel to quench it or charge travel to release it. Here epoxide ring strain is released. Then the question number 3. The starting metal is cyclopentane, which is attached with another fused cyclohexene. The both are connected by double bond there. The fusion has double bond there. The reagents you are using NBS and hydrogen peroxide and potassium carbonate. Then you are using BF3 and OET. They ask you to find the product. The products are ketone formation or alcohol formation, or the double bond in the 5-member ring or 6-member ring, or the spiro kind of product formation. From the reactant to product, you might know the whole reaction is between reagent versus alkene position, the alkene formation. The answer is D. Let us see how. The starting metal you are having alkene, you are using N-bromosuccinimide. It supply the bromine there. So bromine attached with the double bond, you have the strain-full cationic 3-member ring. Then you are using peroxide. Peroxide supply the OH there and you have the ring opening. The important thing is the attack is on backside attack, so both OH and Br are trans to each other. Next step, you are using the base. Base subtract the proton, you have the anion formation. Then the anion has to be quenched. It can be quenched by bromine leaving. So bromine leaves, it has the epoxide formation. The epoxide is on below the plane because O is below the plane. So ring is formed below the plane. Next step, you are using BF3. BF3 is a Lewis acid. It activates the oxygen there to open the ring. So to quench the charge deficiency, the 5th carbon moved to the 1st position. So ring is opened there. You have cation at 6th position and you have OH. To quench the charges hydrogen leaves, you have ketone formation. So if you redraw nicely, the product is D. Here you have to learn two important things. One is brominium ion ring opening. OH attack in the anti-position, you have trans product. Second thing is migration of methyl group. To reduce the strain, the methylene group migrates and open the ring because it is the only quenching pathway. The strain is released, new stable ketone is formed there. Then the question number 4. The starting metal is cyclohexane attached with methyl and phenyl sulfoxide. You are using acidic anhydride and sodium acetate and water. 4 answers are given. Answer A and B only differ in the alkene position. Answer C and D differ in the oxygen. One is alcohol, another is ketone there. So from the reactant to product, you might guess sulfur elimination definitely occur and position of double bond, because which decides the enol or ketone. Double bond position is important here. The answer is D. Let us see how. The starting metal you are having sulfoxide and you can write it like ketone. So you can write enolate formation. So you have the charge balance there, it's kind of E-line. So positive charge and negative charge, you have double bond. Then you have acidic anhydride where it will attack. So oxygen possesses the negative charge, it attacks the anhydride there. You have CH3COO minus elimination. So you have new OC bond formation. So next step, you are adding water. Water adding to the double bond to the saturation. So OH minus and H plus added there. Then you are heating. What really happens is during the heating, the sulfur group eliminated away. It's a sulfoxide elimination. So you have the cation formation there near the alcohol. So the only quenching possibility is formation of ketone, which is answer D. Here you have to learn two important things. One thing is sulfoxide can undergo nucleophilic addition reaction where O attack the nucleophile there. Second thing is sulfoxide elimination. If you have the sulfur system with proper leaving group, you can eliminate the sulfur from the system. Then the question number 5. The starting metal is 5-member system which attached with ketone, which is in the conjugation with double bond. Then you are having acid. They have the product formation amine. They ask you to find the reagents. The reagents are lithium hydride and palladium carbon reduction and phosphine water and lithium in liquid ammonia. So from the reactant to product, you might see chemoselective functional group conversion. The acid converted into amine, and definitely one naming reaction is involved here. The answer is C. Let us see how. The starting metal you are having acid, you are using the phosphine. So it's a kind of substitution reaction happen. The phosphine attacks the nitrogen. You have the phosphine nitrogen bond occurs there. This reaction is technically called Schrodinger reaction because it forces the nitrogen N2 to leave from the system by phosphorus nucleophile. So it attacks, you have the phosphine elimination. Next step, it attacks, you have the N2 elimination and phosphine bond occurs, new NP bond. Then if you do hydrolysis, what really happens is it becomes amine. So it's an interesting as well as simple one, but it converts acid to amine there. Here you have to also guess why lithium aluminum hydride cannot be useful, because lithium aluminum hydride reduces the carbonate, so it's a mutual reduction happen. Same thing with hydrogen and palladium carbon, it reduces the double bond there. The same thing occurs with lithium and liquid ammonia also, because it reduces the conjugated double bond. So you cannot have the chemoselectivity. So only with phosphine you have the product there. So the answer is clearly C. Here you have to learn two important things. One is Staudinger reaction. Staudinger reaction converts N3 to NH2 by phosphine reaction. Second thing is about reagent selectivity. Whenever you have to choose the reagent for the reaction, you have to think of the mutual selectivity as well as you have to eliminate the other possible side reaction. That's why here phosphine is the appropriate reagent. That's all from this episode. I hope it was easy. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestion, comment below. Stay tuned for next episode.